idea if I don't have time, then I just won't do it at all. So if there's any change in my routine, that's when I just eliminate it and go to the next thing.
Giving ourselves grace, I don't think particularly as women, we do that very often. And I don't think we're taught to do that. We are expected to give.
I like force myself to wake up at like 5:30 in the morning, which is not ideal because I always feel like I'm doing myself a disservice if I'm like too tired and I don't get like a good workout in.
Perfectionism is the number one reason most people quit fitness routines. If you've ever thought, if I can't work out for an hour, I might as well not bother. This episode is for you. We're breaking down why small daily movements matter way more than perfect workouts. And so let's say hi to Greg today, our founder of Zero Sweat Fitness. Hey, Greg.
Good afternoon. How are you?
We're doing great. I see some perfectionists across from me, so this is going to be a good one. Sarah was a student of mine in the ballet world, and perfectionism is like a disease. And I don't know you that well yet, but I imagine you're here for a good reason. So, so let's start just and talk about if we've ever quit a fitness plan or a diet plan just because we messed up once. Does anybody have that kind of experience that they can relate to?
Yeah, I'll start us off.
Okay.
So I wouldn't say it's necessarily I made a mistake. I definitely get in that idea if I don't have time, then I just won't do it at all. So if there's any change in my routine, that's when I just eliminate it and go to the next thing. So in my mind, I think that's some of the reasons why things don't continue or they don't become a habit overall. Yep, exactly that. So trying to adjust in that way. But I would say that's like mainly it when my routine or the plan of the to-do list that I'm doing that day.
It doesn't look like you think what you think it should.
And just trying to get into that habit now of even if I can't get to that level that I want, that giving myself grace as well of if anything is better than nothing, and it's about that consistency.
But how hard is it to get to that place?
I mean, it is so hard.
I'm blown away that you're saying this, and I know you're in your early 20s, and I'm thinking if I could have thought that way in my early 20s, I'd probably be a lot healthier and happier. But giving ourselves grace, I don't think particularly as women, we do that very often, and I don't think we're taught to do that. We are expected to give. Mm-hmm. And when we miss an opportunity to give or miss an opportunity, we beat ourselves up. So yeah, it's true. If I'm guilty of that too. If I don't feel like I have time to do a full 1 hour workout, then I'm like, well, then a workout doesn't happen. And I end up doing nothing. So it's interesting. The Zero Sweat is really helping me shift my mind and to rethink what exercise is and what fitness is altogether, that it can be something a lot more achievable. So I'm curious, have you ever started down a path and...
Yeah, so I'm chronically busy. That's kind of, I'm always doing something. So I feel like for me, the hardest part is finding the routine in and of itself because my schedule's so busy all the time. So I think for me, I find weird pockets to work out in, or I like force myself to wake up at like 5:30 in the morning, which is not ideal because I always feel like I'm doing myself a disservice if I'm like too tired and I don't get like a good workout in.
Yeah. So it's like, well, I have to choose which aspect of my health I want to focus on. Do I want to get good rest, which we also need, or do I want to work out? That's a terrible place to be in. Yeah. Now, are you super busy by choice, or is this like...
Yeah, it's by choice.
It's by choice. So you prefer it that way?
Yeah, I like to be busy.
Yeah, I can relate to that. And it's funny because I just had this conversation with my mom, how she was like, oh, I just wish I'd never put you in dance because she says I don't know how to relax, which, okay, there might be some truth to that. But she felt that because I was in ballet that I learned that I have to be busy all the time, but I kind of think it's a personality thing. And also, as I'm getting older, I'm realizing it's a coping mechanism. It's a way to not deal with certain things, whether it be emotional or whatever. If I'm busy, then I can push those uncomfortable things away, if that makes sense. So I get that. When you say chronically busy, I was like, I can relate to that.
Yeah.
My choice. Yeah, definitely. Interesting. Well, so zero sweat makes that all a lot easier because we can actually incorporate it while we're being busy. We don't have to stop being chronically busy. We can drop and do zero sweat anytime. I'm curious how you guys define progress in fitness. Like, how do you look at fitness and how do you determine if you are being successful or not? Do you jump on a scale? Do you check out your clothes? What do you use as a guide?
I can start. I would say earlier on in my fitness journey, so like college, high school, I relied a lot on the scale. But I think as I grew up, I kind of realized that's not the best mechanism because the scale would go up, but like my clothes would fit way better or I would feel way better.
Yeah.
So like I kind of have gone away from the scale and rely more on like my clothes, how they feel, how I feel. I've had my like Oura ring for like a year now. I would say like I use my Oura ring a lot for like tracking like my body stress, heart rate, and things like that.
What is it?
Like my Oura ring.
Oh, Oura ring.
Yeah, it tracks like your biometrics, stuff like it told me I had the
That is
flu.
cool.
Yeah, it told me I had the flu like 2 days before I got sick.
Are you kidding me?
So
That's
I rely a lot on this every morning, and like tracking my sleep and kind of just
Is
seeing
it like I hate to say it, is it an app?
yeah,
Okay, there's an app for that.
yeah,
I've just never heard of this. This is something I need to check out. It told you had the flu 2 days before you had the flu.
before I like got sick.
That's wild.
Yeah, it
does
warned
it
me
do
ahead of
that?
time.
I know I'm getting sidetracked.
I think it tracks a lot of kind of like your temperature, like body temperature variations. And if you don't sleep well, it'll kind of tell you like you need to take a nap for this long today. If you're starting to feel sluggish in the afternoon, it's like things like that. I use it a lot as like my check-ins on like daily movement and things like that.
Wow.
You need to get sponsored.
I know, right? You just turned my head onto something. I'm going to have to go look this up now. So I wonder how it will react, like incorporating zero sweat fitness, if you kept yourself fidgeting and moving all day long. Does it detect that kind of thing?
Yeah, it detects kind of like your inactivity for the day as well as activity.
Fascinating.
I should add that we are not good yet at really assessing subtleties as far as movement, like a leg extension. It's very hard.
You mean on our devices?
Yet for our devices to detect something like that or washing in place, it's better at detecting variances in, let's say, heart rate, for example, or
body temperature.
And linear movement is much easier to detect that. And so we're getting better, but we're not there yet. So an episode of, let's say, a day of doing zero sweat or like shaking like you may be doing, can it really detect that? Probably not.
I know my watch doesn't because I have started, like if I play ping pong or something, I'll think I'm going to get all this activity, but because the ping pong paddle is in my right hand, I notice my watch doesn't give me any credit for that movement. So I find that frustrating. Yeah. So the devices do have some catching up to do, and particularly with zero sweat being so, what's the word? Subtle. Yes, subtle movements, especially if you're at work. It's probably not going to read those things, but maybe it will pick up on our increased body temperature because, right, wouldn't our body temperatures increase if we're moving more?
Not to the extent of
reading it.
The flu. I mean, that's a different level of intensity.
Fair enough. I was hoping. Okay, well, if you had 5 to 10 minutes a day specifically carved out for exercise, and that's not a lot, 5 to 10 minutes, although some days it can feel like a lot, what would you choose to do? Like, what is your ideal activity? What do you think you get the most bang for your buck?
I think what I would want to do is probably a little bit different than like something I would get the most bang for my buck.
Gotcha. Okay.
Like I would just love to just stretch, do some yoga for some reason, like just that connecting like mind to body, that just feels good to me.
Yep.
And even though it's probably not the most bang for my buck because I'm like staying in a pose for a certain amount of time, not also sedentary, like not moving.
Yeah.
Just stretching.
But there is something to be said about that mind-body connection, like you said, because mental health is a big piece of our overall health. And Greg keeps mentioning that fitness and health are two different things. And as we get older, we start focusing more on health. But I think it's wise to focus on the mental health aspect, and the mind-body connection is pretty key.
And I should mention, the nice thing about yoga is, although you're in a static position, the level of energy required to stay at that
To maintain it.
I never thought
makes a
about
big
that.
difference. And then also your balance considerations, because you have to balance as well. So you're doing something.
Okay. I never thought of it like that.
Give yourself more
I
credit.
know.
Give yourself grace. Something we perfectionists are not good at, right? Giving ourselves credit. Yeah. How about you? Is there something you would pick?
Mine also probably isn't as bang for your buck. I try to do snap. I'm not very good at it, but when I call my mom every day to do it while I'm walking, like outside, I'm not the best at it, but I would say probably just getting outside for those 5 to 10
Being
minutes.
outside and seeing the sun and feeling the air. And
Yeah.
I'm the same way. I feel like a completely different person. I have a friend who calls it seasonal depression. I wouldn't probably go that far as to call it depression, but I feel so much better and healthier when the sun is out. And that's why I've kind of always said, I think I'm destined to live somewhere tropical. Because just when I get out and get the fresh air and feel the warmth on my skin, I just feel healthier and happier. So yeah, that's true. And that could, zero sweat, I think, is a good thing, because you can do it inside or outside. So that is the one, if we pick activities that we can only do outside, then obviously in a seasonal environment we are limited. But zero sweat fitness is one of those incremental small things that you can do inside or outside. So that is definitely an added benefit.
Right. And the nice thing is, you mentioned climate changes. People are more depressed in the winter than they are during the spring and summer, simply because they feel confined in space. And when you do, you have thoughts, and the thoughts, I say, could be a cloudy day. We have to be more depressed. For example, Seattle, because of the number of times it rains, is the city itself has more suicide.
I was afraid you were going to say that.
Other major cities, it has the highest level of suicide. So there's definitely an impact of not only seasonal changes, but weather as well.
Yeah, and I do think that your environment impacts whether or not you exercise. And so my brain just started wondering, what are the stats on how much people exercise compared to like sunnier place, Seattle versus Florida, or
That's an easy one. For example, most people don't know that Colorado has over 265 days a year of sunshine, more so than the Sunshine State or Florida. But places that have lots of sun, people tend to get out, they're more active. And also you have the mountains. So whether you're hiking in the summer or skiing in the winter, there are more avenues for getting outdoors, and people like to get outdoors. And so you think of it as a place where there's lots of snow, but even then you have, you can go sledding, you can go ice skating,
there's lots of activities, I guess,
et cetera. So, but the active states, people obviously are healthier and tend to take better care of themselves.
Makes sense. Well, as perfectionists that are so easily knocked off course when things don't go as planned, what is something that you could implement that would be easy to achieve but make a big impact in your fitness routine? Can you think of something small that you could drop into your daily routine that would be impossible to fail at, so to speak?
I think that a lot of it with like the zero sweat fitness, like being more mindful, like at work, using a standing desk when you can, or like when you're brushing your teeth, that's something that we do every day. So it's like finding those moments where there's already a routine. It's how to enhance that experience.
Oh, perfectly said. And like the association of something you already do, now when I brush my teeth, I'm also going to do.
Yeah. So like you don't have to make a new habit, because that's usually where I stop, is creating something new. But if it's already existing.
Well, isn't that sums up zero sweat, isn't it? That we're not trying to create more time, and we're not trying to we're trying to work with what we have and maximize it. So, wow.
Exactly. Yeah. Maximizing movement in the span of time that we have, particularly when we are sedentary, we're sitting down.
That's so exciting, actually. Like and now I'm like, I want to make a list of all the things that I do every day without having to think. I have to take my contacts out every day. I have to wash my face. I have all the ablutions and, getting ready. That's so amazing. So I'm going to start associating. So if I had to pick one thing, you said brushing your teeth.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think of what am I going to pick? I have to think about that. What about you? What's one thing you would implement?
That's tough. I have been trying to implement like a lunch break walk when I go into the office, because we don't have standing desks in the office. So we're kind of I'm in my little cubicle away from everybody too. So I'm kind of forced to sit there with my thoughts by myself all day.
You're in prison.
Yeah. So like during lunch, like I've been trying to just kind of take a lap around the parking lot. But also sometimes if it's like hot outside.
I was going to say, do you eat when you're walking?
No.
So
I eat and then walk.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
I guess lunch you could do sitting in your cubicle, right?
Yeah. That's what most people do.
Oh, you don't need a break to do that because you're already sitting. That makes sense.
But just to kind of like get out. And I think for me, the biggest like barrier to that was thinking like no one else is doing this. So like, what do I look like being the person to just leave during lunch?
Maybe you can set a new trend.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Trendsetter. Well, I mean, it is a movement revolution, and I think we've actually we've had a question come up before where someone said, what if people start staring at you? And it's kind of like most of the movements that you can do, you can be the judge of your environment, but they're subtle. But even if someone does notice, it might spark more spread of the movement. And think about how healthy our society would be. I mean, that stat, I know I keep saying it, but 80% of our society will never exercise regularly. That is a huge percentage of our population. So if you could be a trendsetter and have people go, oh, what is she doing? Oh, she's like getting a walk in on her lunch break. Then I know I'd be the one going, oh, I feel like a slug. I should probably do that. You know what I mean? Maybe we can be the kickstarters of this movement revolution.
Yeah, no, I can say though, when we are in the city of Atlanta and it's 86 degrees outside and over 85% humidity, it's probably not going to leave you feeling fresh when you come back.
Good point.
Once you're able to take a shower. So I think it's important at that time to do zero sweat, because that time you can stay in your office, and you can, even if there's an office with stairs, you can go up and down the stairs. That's great. You're still in an air-conditioned environment, and you won't suffer from being outside.
Yeah, and I love the idea of getting up and walking, but even more so for me, what speaks to me about the zero sweat is that it is non-exercise activity thermogenesis. So I really feel like there is so much time that we can capitalize on that is not during our lunch break, or is not like, when I'm brushing my teeth, but it's when we're sitting, because the fact is our society sits more than it does anything else. And if we can take that time that we're sitting and create it movement time, I think that's what makes my mind just go, imagine the difference we could make.
Yeah, I can recall a flight I had. I was going to visit family, and on the flight there was a bumper seat, and so the flight attendant was directly in front of me, and I'm always doing something. So I was marching, and she goes, "Oh, is this your first flight?" And I just went along with it and say yes, but I'm always moving, because here's the thing: if you're flying across country or you're doing 5 hours, that's 5 hours of sitting. And a lot of times people will get blood clots from just being that sedentary. So
You travel a lot.
I tell people to move all the time. You've got to. Now, the flight attendants would rather that you stay there so that you're not interfering with what they're doing, but move, stand up, walk back and forth.
Or move in your chair.
Yeah, move in your chair.
They don't let you get up.
Exactly.
I didn't even think about flight times, but I talked to you before and you said you travel a lot, so I immediately think of you.
So I just got back from like 2 weeks of travel. I was in Germany and Chicago.
Oh my goodness.
So the past 2 weeks I've spent a lot of time in an airplane and in a car. So, and it's funny because after talking about all of the zero sweat, I found myself trying to incorporate it because I was just getting antsy of, 9-hour flight and you're like, I have to move.
Yes, yes, the body craves it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and yeah.
So,
9-hour flight. But yeah, I mean, we are stuck in our seats on it. I mean, because you're pretty brave and you will get up, and I'm a rule follower. So if this, fasten your seatbelt sign is on, I'm going to be in my seat with my seatbelt fastened. But it's, but creating movement in that time when I'm just sitting in a chair, it does help. So, and it's easily achievable, even for the perfectionist. I think that's the part of me that loves zero sweat is the fact that I am a perfectionist, and I know you two are too, is that it's so achievable. And so anytime I feel like I have ticked a box and I have successfully completed something, I feel good about myself. Yeah. And zero sweat is just so easy that I feel like I can achieve it every day.
It's just like people who are dieting, strict diets, they have a slice of pizza and say, oh, there you go, blew my diet, and so the remaining pieces of pizza. That's not a good concept. That's not how it works. So what you have to do is recognize that I had a slice, stop there, and then go ahead and either decrease your consumption the next day or increase your movement. Okay, and you can achieve that over time, but when you go from eating one slice to eating the entire pizza pie, then we have another issue.
Houston, we have a problem. Yeah, makes total sense. Well, I think this is a great opportunity for us to take a look at some more samples of how we can incorporate zero sweat. Thank you so much, Greg, for giving us this wonderful movement to pass along to everyone.
You're welcome. Thanks,
you guys for joining us and talking about how perfectionism is killing our workouts.
thank you.
Thank you.
Are you tired of feeling overwhelmed and exhausted by the endless stream of health and fitness gimmicks bombarding you every day? Everywhere we turn, there's a new fitness trend vying for our attention. But here's the thing, amidst all the noise, it's hard to separate the wheat from the chaff. With so many conflicting messages and quick fix solutions, it's no wonder we're feeling confused and frustrated. And maybe you've even experienced analysis paralysis. I know I have. But what if I told you there's a better way? What if you could cut through the clutter and focus on what truly matters, which is your health and happiness? What if you could increase your energy, shed those extra pounds, and elevate your health without even breaking a sweat or carving out extra time in your busy day? Let's talk about the crazy math of staying active. Even if we crushed an hour-long workout every single day, it still wouldn't be enough to counteract the whopping 8 hours of sitting around doing nada, which we all do. But wait, it gets worse. Studies show exercise only makes up 5% of our metabolism. But fear not, because here comes the hero of our story, Zero Sweat Fitness. Zero Sweat Fitness is based on the science of NEAT, which impacts our metabolism rate 10% more than exercise, giving you a 15% impact. What is NEAT? Non-Exercise Activity Thermogenesis is the energy expended for everything we do that is not sleep, eating, or sports-like exercise. Have you ever known a person that just can't sit still? That's a person capitalizing on the benefits of NEAT. With Zero Sweat Fitness, you can double your NEAT impact to 30%. That's a 15% improvement to your metabolism. Whether you're chilling at your desk, cruising in your car, or jet setting on a plane, you can bust out these moves anytime, anywhere. Zero Sweat teaches you to add NEAT to your normal day. No extra time needed, no increased appetite, and no sweat. You won't even mess up your hair. So are you ready to ditch the sedentary slump and join the movement revolution? Make every move count. Sweat zero with Zero Sweat Fitness. With Zero Sweat, you're not just burning calories, you're torching them. Let's get started.